Hey guys, before we jump into Crystal Clear, we have some Patreon shoutouts we need to fulfill. First off is Samantha Gadden. She's an incredible digital artist and she's just getting started, so she wants requests and commissions. As you can see, her fan art is almost completely on model to the show. It looks spot on. My favorite piece is definitely the Star and Steven swap. As you can tell, she's really talented. So please, follow her on Instagram, sjgatonart, or if you want to reach out to her through email, there's sjgatonart@gmail.com. Next up is Scratch and Sniff. They have an amazing webcomic series, Chasm Calypso. It takes place in the near future and follows the adventures of Scratch and Quit, trying to get to the bottom of a mystery that begins with a mysterious sinkhole. The art's great, it looks completely professional, the action's great, the artists are on point, and they have a GoFundMe so they can keep the series going. And I hope they do. I don't want to give away too many spoilers, but I definitely want to see what happens next. Scratch and Sniff will also be at San Diego Comic-Con next week and SuperCon in Florida. Be on the lookout for them because they'll be giving out prints at both events. Next up, we have Hamster City. Not only do they have their own unboxing channel with a lot of giveaways, including Steven Universe minis, they have their own manga. You guys should definitely check that out. Seeing people create animations or manga from the ground up, it just inspires me. Last but not least, getting his third shout out, so pledging a third time on our diamond tier, is Karuto XO. They have their own Steven Universe theories, discussions, and they make animations. They usually participate in maps, multi-animator projects, and their work is A+. It makes me want to pursue animations. Again, you guys should definitely check all of them out. Links in the description. Don't forget, if you want your channel or anything shouted out, pledge to our diamond tier on Patreon. But we also have a lot of other tiers with a lot of other perks on there as well, including a Patreon-only Discord server. So consider checking that out. Now let's get on with Crystal Clear. Welcome back to Crystal Clear on the Roundtable. I'm your host, Ostrich Vox. Once again, we'll be talking about anticipation for San Diego Comic-Con 2017. We're only 1 week away from the huge event, and they finally unveiled this year's Steven Universe poster. And this one's a bit darker from the previous posters. I'll put the poster up right now, but I want to elaborate what it means, because as evident from last year's poster, they like to put a tiny bit of foreshadowing into these now. Looking at 2015 and 2016's posters, in 2015, the poster was pretty simple. It was just a crowd shot of the gems, Garnet holding Ruby and Sapphire, paired out with her lemon enhancers, Jasper in the side looking pretty angry, and it wasn't too reflective of the show at the time. Malachite was at the bottom of the ocean, yet we have Jasper and Lapis here, Lapis looking pretty happy. And considering the chain of events at the time, I'm not really surprised. We were just hitting the Sardonyx arc, Peridot was on the run, and considering what they were going for, Malachite wouldn't have worked on this poster. It was actually a pretty good call only having Jasper and Peridot. However, last year's when things get interesting. Last year's poster had the main cast in tuxedos. I'm assuming that's a nod to Mr. Greg, but it could have just been a stylistic choice. I'm going to say it's a nod to Mr. Greg though. Now looking at everyone, they have their own color scheme, but there's a bit of foreshadowing symbolism here. Steven and Greg both have roses on their tuxedos. Connie has her sword for obvious reasons, and parallel to Connie, Lapis has an umbrella. Now, if they wanted to just give Lapis something to parallel to Connie, they would have just given her a cane, but an umbrella? It didn't take a genius at the time to deduce that Lapis was under Blue Diamond's court. However, this umbrella kind of foreshadows Blue Diamond's personality, her lamenting, her grieving. And probably the most important detail on this poster is that Jasper has a hollyhock flower on her tuxedo. Why was this so important? This was a hint that Jasper was under Pink Diamond's court, because we see those hollyhock flowers in Korea during Steven's dream, right around Pink Diamond's palanquin where she was shattered. I know a lot of people are aware of that, but if you didn't, however, that neat little detail means a lot in the grand scheme of things. It showed that the universe is going to be a bit more considerate of the plot and what's to come when designing these posters. At least, that's my interpretation of it. So let's use our knowledge and see how we can apply that to the San Diego Comic-Con poster this year. At first glance, it's rather simple. The crystal gems are looking very concerned in different directions, while behind them is a backdrop of yellow and blue diamond. However, if we look at it beneath a surface level, there's a bit more symbolism and foreshadowing there. So first things first, look at the placement of the diamonds. Yellow is to the left and blue is to the right. Where have we seen that before? Oh yeah, the Great Diamond Authority insignias. With that knowledge in mind, that little white piece above their heads, the 3 points at the top kind of look like a crown, but They also look like the 3 points that are assumably White Diamond's hair in her mural on the moon base. And well, the 2 points below those 3 points could also be her hair as well. But they're not just accounting for the modern day diamond insignia, but the original one, because what's beneath representing White Diamond is a hollyhock flower falling down. Again, this flower was used to symbolize Jasper belonging to Pink Diamond's court, and surrounded her palanquin in Steven's dream. This upside down hollyhock flower falling represents the demise of Pink Diamond. Now, I believe the placement of the crystal gems aligns with the Diamond Authority. Garnet is front and center, and because of her height, is at the top. Garnet is often seen as the leader of the crystal gems, just like the implications of White Diamond being the leader of Homeworld. Now, as Garnet's the tallest, Steven is the shortest. He's the closest to the bottom, correlating with Pink Diamond. And I feel like this is for obvious reasons. Steven has rose quartz as gem. Steven is a rose quartz, or at the very least, half of one. Rose quartz was on Pink Diamond's court and shattered Pink Diamond. Just like how Pink Diamond is gone, so is Rose. Now to the right is Pearl, correlating her to Blue Diamond. And I feel like this is an easy connection. This was a connection people were making all the way back in Mr. Greg. It's how quite a few people figured out Blue Diamond would still be grieving over Pink Diamond. Pearl's loss, Rose giving up herself so Steven can be brought into this world, her grieving is very similar to Blue Diamond's. It's a parallel. Although since we don't know too much about Blue Diamond's relationship with Pink Diamond, we don't know how exact it is. Another thing though, Pearl's reaction, while it's very in line with her previous reactions to things in the show, especially concerning Pink Diamond, it's still different than anyone else's. Not only is she just as scared and concerned as the rest of Crystal Gems, but her mouth is covered. Pearl typically covers her mouth when it's related to something traumatizing, i.e. Pink Diamond, or a general dealing with Homeworld. But considering it's so unlike anyone else's reaction, it really makes you think. Pearl knows something. Whatever her affiliation is with Homeworld, it gave her inside information that will hopefully come to light pretty soon, at least in this general season. Finally, we have Amethyst, and while this is a bit more of a reach, it's still in line. Amethyst on the left side would make her a parallel to Yellow Diamond. As you know, Yellow Diamond is very angry. She has a poor temper. And while we don't really see this as much in Amethyst now, this was a trait that was very dominant in her personality for the longest time. And if Yellow Diamond's anger truly is directed at the loss of Pink Diamond, well, we've seen Amethyst get upset over Rose's loss before. But whereas Garnet and Pearl were mourning over it, Amethyst lashed out through anger. So while it is a bit odd considering Amethyst more than likely would have been under Pink Diamond's court, and well, Yellow Diamond is Yellow Diamond, in terms of personality, the similarities are there. Just like how Yellow Diamond tries to push everything away and just tries to conceal her emotions, we've seen Amethyst do that exact same thing. Amethyst does not like confrontation. For the longest time, Amethyst was not comfortable with her own flaws and confronting those flaws. So while they're different situations, they have very similar approaches to handling them. That's all I can really get out of the poster, but let's acknowledge the sheer fact that they could have done another main cast shot, which I was fully expecting them to. I was expecting something in line with the previous 2 years, maybe add Pink Lars, maybe Lion, maybe Sadie, maybe Topaz or Aquamarine. But no, they decided to go for this ominous looking poster with the Crystal Gems terrified. Steven has his shield out, and notice how Steven is the only gem with his weapon out. They're stunned, but Steven, he's ready to defend himself. He's ready to defend everybody. I think that's a very powerful visual. But this tells me shit's gonna go down soon. And hopefully with that tease of White Diamond, we're actually gonna see her, but I wouldn't count on it. I do want her at least mentioned before the end of season 5, and I do think we will get that, but an actual physical appearance, I'll be damned. Obviously, I want it to happen. Now, obviously, I'll be overly ecstatic if it does happen. But yeah, that's all I really have to say. And what do you guys think? Let's get a discussion going in the comment section below. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, please sort of like, and if you're new here, hit that subscribe button. It really helps us out. Big thing, those Blue Diamond t-shirts, the campaign was supposed to end on Sunday, and it did, but apparently I have auto relaunch on and the campaign started over again. I'm eventually gonna fix that, but if you guys still wanna grab a shirt, I guess get it till you can't buy it anymore. That'll also be in the description. Follow us on social media, and if you're feeling generous, support us on Patreon. If you select our diamond tier, we'll shout out your channel, or social media platform, whatever you want. And we also have a Discord you can join at any given time. Links to everything in the description below. Ostrich Vox, signing out. This video has been powered by Patreon. If you want to give us some more support, head to patreon.com/roundtablevids, become a patron, and get some awesome perks. Thanks for watching another video on the Roundtable. If you want to get more involved with our community and watch videos from Let's Talk with Tom, Voxbox, and more, click the video right here. Or if you want to get some more of the animation goodness, watch some Crystal Clear or Meaning Monday, click the video right here. And please, don't forget to subscribe.